This is the Iron Grips podcast. Hope you enjoy it.
So, question. We haven't been controversial on this podcast yet. I don't think once, really. Right?
Uh-oh.
So, but I need to fucking ask because it's driving me nuts. What do we think of combat jiu-jitsu? Where they like do jiu-jitsu and slap each other. I fucking for the life of me don't understand it.
You don't?
No.
Neither do I, but I love watching it.
Really?
Man, yeah.
Oh, man,
I mean, we both come from like striking arts as well.
Yeah, but I don't see slapping as striking. That's the problem.
Hey man, have you ever seen
No,
Boz?
I know.
Boz, when they did the open hand, heel palm, those guys get messed up.
Yeah, no, it can hurt, and because I've seen you watch the slapping contests, like the big guys where they strap one hand and knock each other out.
The Russian slap contest.
You never seen that?
Oh, Julianne, come on.
But they bang people out with a slap.
Yeah.
So I get it. It can hurt, but like if you're gonna do jiu-jitsu and strike, why are you just not doing MMA? I know there's much more to it. Like obviously you got to learn the stand-up and all that sort of stuff. But it kills me watching it.
I think it's
don't
to
get
keep it moving because you can't stall. I think the rule.
True.
I don't know all the rules for combat jiu-jitsu. I only ever watched.
No, me neither.
Highlights.
I've only watched bits. And
I think you're only allowed to strike if somebody's on the ground.
Right.
So you can't be both standing up and just like slapping the shit out of each other. Like I think both people one person needs to be at least on the ground because I've only ever seen them throw strikes when one person's on the back, either trying to strike up, which is a terrible idea, or if the person's trying to pass the guard and they're just like slapping and like bashing into the nose or whatever. But I've seen some of those guys get like sliced open or bloodied because of slaps.
No, like I said, I'm not saying that if I was stuck in a fight where the rules were to slap each other, I wouldn't be feeling it. I just don't get it. I'm like, and I don't know whether it's because I'm an old dinosaur, and I've got to be careful what I say here because again, as growing up as a kid, like, you know, back in, you know, whatever fucking era it was, a long time ago, like when you grow up fighting as a kid, you're like, okay, girls slap and guys punch. And that's old, right? Do you know? And like, no, girls are tough as fuck nowadays, and they all punch. But and they were back then. It's just, I think maybe there's a bit of that in me that I'm like, why slapping? You know, why don't you just stick some gloves on and punch on the ground, right? Why slapping? I just don't get it.
Or just make it bare knuckle punches, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even that. Bare knuckle punching is safer than like regular boxing because you can go longer with punching to the head with boxing gloves on.
Yeah.
The reason why bare knuckle fighting doesn't last as long is you usually break your hand.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, look, it's getting popular, and I think that's why I'm like, you know, I saw a bit of it, and I was like, "The fuck's this shit?"
That's because EBI hasn't been around. So at the Eddie Bravo tournament, and that's kind of where I think combat jiu-jitsu sort of branched off of. EBI kind of stopped for a while, and then combat jiu-jitsu came out, and now all the best no-gi grapplers are going to combat, but now EBI's back on. I think we're going to see a switch.
But why are they going to that? Is there more money in it?
I think they do get paid a good amount. I mean, at least I would hope so.
I mean, it's on UFC Fight Pass and whatnot, right?
Yeah,
so I guess
then they would...
anything that's good for the sport and for fighters, whether you're a jiu-jitsu guy, an MMA guy, whatever, if you can move into something that allows you to compete where you're going to earn some money or more money versus, you know, most jiu-jitsu stuff not earning much unless you're, you know, right at the top.
But even then, you're not making that much.
No,
not everybody's Gordon Ryan.
I'm good with that side of things. I'm good with it, I guess, again, a little bit like the celebrity, you know, boxing bullshit, which I'll not go into. You know, it's bringing a new audience, because like you just said, your reaction was, I love watching it.
Yeah, I love watching people get slapped.
It's my perception of what I like to see when I'm watching a fight.
Have you ever been slapped?
Only, not by a man. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Well, no, you asked. I'm like, I've been slapped a few times by women. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah, it wakes you up.
You've listened to me talk. I have a habit of sometimes not the right things coming out of my mouth. So it is what it is. But
it wakes you up. It makes you move. So I can see why they're like, okay, well, if your opponent's just kind of playing guard, like slap him, make him move.
Yeah, if that's the reason. Like I said, I would need to, you kind of, I guess have a conversation with the people that invented this to be like, okay, what was the purpose? Why did we go down the route of slapping over punching?
I also think that when you have punching, the athletics commission has to be a part of it, right?
Right, okay.
So if you don't have punching, this is why I think Boz used to compete in that organization that did open hand slap, because I don't know if the athletics commission was as much a part of that.
Okay, that might make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm probably going to get a load of people like want to slap the shit out of me after saying this, but I'm also like, look, I don't want to fight in those rules. If you want to throw something whilst we do jiu-jitsu, I'm going to punch you.
Yeah.
And I'll accept that, and if you can beat me punching me, then fine. But I'm going to punch, I'm not going to slap.
Yeah. We'll, when we roll, next time we'll just throw some slaps at each other.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? But I have a tendency to, like, I'm obviously against slapping, so I can't promise my hand's going to stay open when I'm, when things are getting a bit heated. I mean, forget.
You could barely open your hands anyways. They're always like this.
Exactly. I've got arthritis in all my fingers. I can't slap properly anyway. It's easier to clench a fist than it is to open my hands.
I think also it was just a money thing, because it's something new in jiu-jitsu, and I think jiu-jitsu's, there's all these different rule sets. ADCC rule set, you have IBJJF, you have the EBI rule sets with the overtimes, and then...
No, it's interesting how much of this stuff is now on, with Polaris and what all the other ones that are on UFC Fight Pass and stuff like that. So it's getting a bigger audience, which means you would like to think slowly there's more money in it for the people that compete, right? Yeah. Which is a good thing. Jiu-jitsu is not easy. And it takes a long time to get really good, and yet, 90% of people that probably do jiu-jitsu actually just go and compete for nothing. Yeah. In fact, it actually costs them, because you've got to pay to compete, then you've got to get there.
Some people fly all over the place.
So it's only it's a sport that actually costs you more money than you're ever likely to make, unless you're again at that elite level. Yeah. So I'm all for people being able to make a little bit of money doing what they love doing. I know there's a huge gap between slapping jiu-jitsu and MMA.
Yeah, I get it. It's like the same reason why I think like basketball's boring as fuck.
But at the same, do you not like basketball? Man, did you not watch the game last night?
I saw you watching the game last night. That's why I said
last night's game was even better. I was watching Boston and New York. What a fuck it. Anyway, I've got a bit obsessed with basketball.
Do you ever like scream at the TV?
No, I'm quite a calm. I'm not very emotional when I'm watching sport. I love it, but I don't get overly emotional watching it. I just get into the skill.
Do you growl a lot at the TV?
No, particularly.
I do. I can't watch sports.
You like baseball?
No.
No. Okay. Cool.
I mean, I don't like baseball.
I can't understand baseball.
I don't like baseball, but I grew up in LA. Being a fan of the Dodgers, you just have to. I'm just Dodgers playing anybody. I'm like, go Dodgers.
I can't get into baseball. It's just too long. There's too much time of nothing happening.
I will say though, I do enjoy going to the games. Have you ever been to a baseball game?
I haven't.
We should go.
I believe being there's better. Yeah, I've heard that.
Oh yeah, because you get like the energy, and they do all sorts of stuff. I do. Yeah, they throw the hot dogs.
You'll never see me throw a hot dog.
No, you just.
Not unless it's someone else's and I don't want to eat it and it's been on the floor or something. But if it's edible,
even then I might eat it.
Yeah, if it's edible, I'm not throwing a hot dog at you.
It's right.
And
do you mean it's
right? Yeah, because they throw it at you when you buy them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, Americans are weird.
Yeah, I mean, you just pass it me. Did you have to throw it at me? Is that the thing? I mean, I'm paying for this after all, right?
So, you don't like being slapped during jiu-jitsu, and you don't like hot dogs being thrown at you?
No, I mean, that's two things we've learned in the first 10 minutes of this podcast, right? Yeah. So it's quite, I think it's usable information at some point,
This podcast is going from, we're going to be professional, we're gonna be good for the jiu-jitsu community, to now it's pure entertainment. Yeah. At least I hope, because this is an interesting conversation for Julianne.
No, I just wanted to ask. I have no one to talk to sometimes about these kind of things, right? So it was on my mind. I saw something on social media this morning, and then I saw it all being advertised again, and I've been watching all this, world championships of, combat jiu-jitsu and whatever, and I was a bit like, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I struggle.
How do you feel about football?
NFL football, American football,
I knew you were
or
gonna
soccer.
ask me. Yeah.
Like, let's, again, we need to be clear.
Yeah,
Julianne understands. Julianne's European.
Yeah.
She knows football in our, part of the world is soccer.
Yeah, when I went to England and I was there with my mates. I don't even know if that's appropriate with the dudes, with the bros.
Absolutely, no mates is all good.
When we went to a pub and they were like, we have to get to this pub. We're gonna watch this game.
Yeah.
They're like, we're gonna watch football.
I grew up with soccer.
I'm like, football. Okay, cool. Who's playing? And they started naming off teams. I'm like, okay, we're talking about soccer. They're like, don't you call it that? Yeah. It's not soccer.
No, I don't watch it as much anymore. Soccer. I watch NFL. I watch American football like nearly every game.
So you got the Rams.
Drives Danny nuts because my Sundays started to become like I can almost watch all the games.
Yeah.
There's about 3 in a row. I don't really move much, but I mean, NFL season's quite short. So the way I see it, it's like five months of the year where I'm not going to do anything on a Sunday. It's not too much to ask.
You're like, ask me to go to brunch in 3 months.
Exactly.
Well,
in February, after the Super Bowl, we're all good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm busy until then.
Put everything on hold.
Exactly.
See, but you move as much as I do through the week. My wife wants me to move on Sundays and go do things on Sundays, and I'm like, I want to watch a movie. I want to play video games. I want to watch something. I don't want to move. And she's like, let's go. Good thing I love my wife and she's an amazing person. And so I'll get up and I'll move around with my aching joints. I've never really been a big fan of football. I kind of fell into the whole, you have to be a Raiders fan. Obviously, I mean, I'm Mexican and from LA, and a lot of us are Raiders fans. But I do like the Rams. And I'm happy that they came back. And the Raiders are now traitors because they're in
Vegas.
They're in Vegas.
Good stadium. That new stadium's awesome.
Oh yeah, it looks great. Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, it's almost as big as their Bass Pro.
I feel sorry for I mean, it doesn't happen a lot, but that's one thing in the NFL. Obviously, the franchise setup, where your team can just uproot and move. That I find really hard for fans, right? Yeah. Because most sport, is dictated to around your fans and your fan base, and that's the kind of thing that would never happen in the UK. Yeah. With soccer, let's say, your team is from that town and that city, and that's
because they don't have names. It's literally like Manchester soccer or football team.
Well, they have a second name, so it's a bit more like the Manchester United, Manchester City. Yeah. Some teams don't. Liverpool, Everton, Tottenham Hotspur. So some have like a second name, which is like their nickname. Mm-hmm. Some just the town or the city that they're from. Yeah. So you would never really see them move. I think in the history of soccer, I think one team kind of moved, but it was a weird, like it sort of semi-folded, which was Wimbledon, and then they moved to Milton Keynes, which was not too far away. But so there was like one, but that's the only one I really know of. Whereas in the NFL, there's been a few over the years that have moved and then come back or whatever. But you're leaving a fan base. I mean, even LA Raiders going to Oakland, or whichever way round it was. Was it Oakland to LA and then LA back to Oakland and now Oakland to Vegas?
They just kept going back and forth.
Oakland's fucking miles away. Mm-hmm. It's not close if you want to go to a game. Now, it's only maybe 8 games a year, but Oakland's like San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, it's still in California.
It is, but what I mean is, if your life revolves around going to all the home games, you want to be what, half an hour away?
Yeah.
Or do you want to be a flight away, or what's Oakland, a 7-hour drive, 8-hour drive?
Yeah,
It's a long way to go to watch a game. Is
yeah.
You know what I mean? So all of a sudden, your fans that fill the stadium, are now not there.
Yeah.
Vegas, a little bit closer actually than Oakland from an LA standpoint.
I guess so. Yeah, that's true. It feels further.
But it just sounds strange calling Las Vegas. I don't.
Yeah, it's also a different state.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a strange. I don't know how we ended up on the topic of NFL,
football
but
teams.
Yeah, I've always found that from a fan's point of view that would be tough. You're like, okay, now what?
Yeah, I like going to games for the food. Mostly the food. Have you ever
That's an American pastime, though, right? I mean, everything revolves around food. The first time I saw someone actually eating their own shopping before they got to the till.
Julianne does that. She's a thief. She eats the stuff before she goes.
No, but I'd never seen that before. ever until I came to the US.
Yeah, because it's called stilling. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to do it.
No, my first trip, and they were literally it was the first time. This was years ago, not most recent, but one of my first trips to the US, and I was in the supermarket, and I'm watching people eat whilst walking around. They couldn't even wait to pay, and then they're putting all the empty wrappers through the till to pay. And I was like blown away. I'm like,
I don't do that.
You that hungry? Oh, you just steal it?
No. If it's they have the bulk sections where you take it out of the things and put it in like a bag or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Then it tastes
The yogurt covered almonds.
for example.
But that's technically semi-stealing because do they not weigh that?
It's for
Yeah.
sure.
So then you just stand on the scale on the
Yeah.
register.
Yeah. So
And
then
you tell them what your weight
I've
is.
already eaten half of it, so it's only half the price.
It's another. It's probably about half a pound. So.
Yeah. No, I was like.
If you add a pound of chocolate covered raisins, I think you'll be done.
Yeah, I was
Speak
surprised.
for yourself.
I was just like you. You were about to go home with a bag of empty wrappers
Yeah, that's weird.
that you've just bought.
You're
'Cause
like,
you've eaten it all in the store.
No, throw that away, please.
I'm like, what the fuck? Just wait.
Have you ever gone to the grocery store hungry though?
Oh, absolutely.
And like
all the
just
time.
get a bunch of shit you shouldn't have gotten?
Yeah, I go in like you're not finding me in the healthy section if I go in hungry.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to be in the fruit and veg aisle. There's no chance. It's the other way around.
Do you go there when you're not hungry?
I used to sometimes try. Yeah, I mean, I used to sometimes go. I'd purposely have like a protein shake or something first, then go shopping, and then my choices would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't hungry and I wasn't craving chocolate and stuff like that. So, because I'd already kind of had it, but then I'd be pissed off later because I wouldn't buy all the stuff I would like to eat, and then my cupboards would be full of healthy stuff. And a day later, when that feeling of being full of chocolate's worn off, I'm like, well, where's all my unhealthy food?
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I mean, but I literally watched you pull all of the vegetables off of a hamburger.
Yeah, because they don't belong. They don't belong on a hamburger.
So you just want the meat and bread.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And the bread is mainly to keep your hands away from the meat while you...
Yeah, well, it kind of goes. The bread with the meat, I don't know, it seems to go. Bit of carbs, right? But
so I've made the argument to people that the hamburger is the perfect meal. Because it has your carbs, it has your fats, it has your protein, and it has all of your fiber and everything that you need. And I'm not even going to look at Julianne right now because I can see there's something going on here where you kind of agree.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and if you need sugar, you add ketchup or barbecue sauce.
Yeah, I mean, you can find an argument for that, absolutely. I mean, whether I'd go as far as to say it's perfect, but again, is it overly bad? If you get the good meat, I think that's the kind of...
Yeah.
Know, if you make them at home and you make your own patties, then, I mean, bread's not... If you overeat bread from a weight point of view, it's it can be really bad. Yeah. But again,
I mean,
a little bit.
I need carbs.
Fuel,
that we're moving.
If all the ingredients were okay, it's not a bad meal. It's a good composition.
But it's it's as always.
The problem is that's like 1% of the times that people eat hamburgers. That's how the hamburger actually.
No, there's a huge difference between a homemade.
Because of this general attitude, there's an obesity epidemic.
Yes.
I'm American. So I have this argument with my nephew.
Obesity
is
has nothing to do with food. It's to do with fucking moving.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Look, trying to set Julianne off there. I was like, just move more.
just
fucking
burn it off.
It's a combination.
It is, but I think we put a lot of emphasis on food. And fast food, and I don't know how we got onto this topic either, but. Fast food's been around for a long time, and families and kids. Even myself as a kid, we would go to McDonald's and KFC and whatnot. So fast food is a problem. Fast food, has been around a long time. Eating unhealthily has been around a long time. We for some reason the health and the fitness industry and all this, we harp right back to prehistoric days or before you could even get that stuff. But the people talking about this stuff grew up with fast food. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I grew up with fast food, and I've never been fat in my life. And at school, I would go at school, lunch would be like a chip barm cake. So that's basically chips in bread. You ever had that? It's fucking amazing. So the chippy you get because it was cheaper than fish and chips.
Like potato chips.
Sorry, no,
like French
fries, but proper.
Okay.
In the UK, we do proper chips, not fries.
Like the fat ones.
Yes.
Like the thick,
like what you guys would kind of call them
fries.
wedges, I guess. No, I don't know. Anyway, chip buddy.
See, we have an obesity problem.
See what I mean, right? And I would have this. So I would have this kind of daily. A chip butty. You'd then get a bag of like sweets from the corner shop, like jelly beans or something, whatever. I'd smash a bag of those and a can of Coke. That'd be my lunch. And immediately after eating that, I'd play football.
But imagine
Yeah, well, you go and run, yeah.
For like an hour.
Yeah. But
So
eating that and you didn't get fat, just imagine how much shit they are eating here to actually get fat.
Well, kids nowadays are...
no, but I'm relating that to the activity level.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I never stopped moving. So yes, we grew up eating shit as kids, but I never stopped moving. I was running around all day. So that's more my correlation of like, I think sometimes we harp too far back to the hunter-gatherer diet and go, well, look, this is why people weren't fat back then. I'm like, yes, no, it's the activities are a big part of that. If you're gonna eat shit and then just purely not move, and yes, absolutely right, add in the volume that some people can eat, but I think the energy balance in versus out is still a big part of it. Now, that doesn't mean say we have to force everyone to be an athlete and run around like crazy, but activity and even activity levels, what I see in schools and things like that, is just so much less for a lot of people than how I kind of grew up. Unless, again, same thing here. If you're pushed into, not pushed, that's the wrong word, but if you go into sports as a kid, and there's loads of options in the US, and this is why there's such a big kind of discrepancy. You're not telling me, and there's a lot more information out there, but you're not telling me that kids are not still being kids when it comes to their early days of sport and eating shit, right? Yeah. But they grow up and they learn a bit more about food, but they grow up, big, strong, they're in the weight room, they're playing their sport, and they're fine.
Well, the information now, too, when you get a little bit older, especially like when you go into high school, a lot of athletes like to do wrestling or soccer or football or whatever they're doing, the information is out there like on YouTube now.
Yeah.
So they can make their own decisions on like what health options what diet they should be going on and actually try things. And when people ask me about diets, I always tell them like, look, it's not bad to try any diet. Try for 30 days and see how it affects you. And we've talked a little bit about this before. Like me and Julianne, we've talked about dieting before, and she found something that works for her, and I mean, because is it okay if I talk about the diet? And she's vegan.
Yep.
And I like it now,
right,
but
so
I mean it works for her. And
I mean, I have these conversations with vegans come to the gym all the time.
Like, how do you do it?
So
there's a lot of energy that you need.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no denying that the vegan diet misses certain vitamins and minerals. It just does. That it's black and white. But you can supplement them. You can. To get, it depends on your training and what you're doing. To get the levels of protein in that you might need is more of a challenge, but it's not impossible. And I always look at the person's purpose and reason for being a vegan. But meat eaters and the personal training world, and we hound on the vegan stroke vegetarian diet a little bit because it's not, in my opinion, it's not 100% optimal for an athlete. That said, it's doable. There are athletes out there, high level, that are vegans and vegetarians, so it's possible.
It goes back to finding what works for you.
Yeah, and I'm never going to tell someone that it's wrong and they shouldn't do it. Yeah. So if you've got someone who's, like, say, vegan, vegetarian because they believe it's the healthiest and best way to eat, I will have an open conversation about what that diet is missing. Yeah. And how you can maybe, if you're dead set on having that diet because you want it, I will explain how you can maybe either supplement or things you can do to try and get the nutrients in that you are going to miss on that.
It's the same with like meat eaters, like pure carnivores, like
you can go the other extreme. I don't think that's healthy. You're going to miss things there as well.
I would argue you're going to miss more things there.
Potentially, yeah, absolutely. And again, it all depends on the purpose of the diet and the nutrition plan, right? The other side of it is, people that do it from a non-harming to animals point of view. I'm never going to have that argument. Yeah. I'm like, if that's your belief, and look, I'll go on record as saying there is absolutely no humane way of killing something. People that meat eaters, we love to believe, that but they don't suffer, blah blah blah. They fucking do, and they're an animal, and if you if we wanted to all be, and if you had to, and again, you'd be probably, look, a lot of people, I know people that go out and shoot an animal and eat it, no problem, right? But I also know there's probably a lot of people that couldn't, and at that point might change their food choice. So I never get into that conversation. If that's their reason, then all good. I'm not here to try and change your mind. I'm certainly not going to change your mind. That's like trying to, change someone's mind on their religion choice, right?
Yeah.
Because they have a really strong reason, and if that's your reason, fair play to you. So I understand, that, and I think, look, there is no such thing to a certain degree as the perfect diet, and it depends on your purpose for the diet. Are you dieting to lose weight? Are you dieting to maintain a certain weight and level of health? What is your goal with your diet? I don't like the term diet. What's your nutrition choices? It's not a diet, and what is your goal with your nutrition choices?
So with that, let me ask you, do you prefer Del Taco or Taco Bell?
I don't think I've actually had either. I've had tacos, but not from the kind
like
of
a
chain.
fast food place?
Yeah, not from the chain places. I've gone to a few different Mexican restaurants. I can't remember the names and stuff.
I mean,
But I look, tacos.
If you're getting like taco truck tacos, that's legit.
Yeah, I've had some of those.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the chains, I'm not sure which one.
Okay.
I don't know,
now, what's your favorite pizza?
Oh God, this is a controversial one because I like Hawaiian, and everyone's like,
I love Hawaiian pizza.
You can't put pineapple on a pizza. I'm like, why not? It actually tastes quite good.
It's great.
Pineapple's got a little bit of anti-inflammatory to it. It helps you digest, which means I can eat more pizza. So there's my, backward,
Now,
UK logic.
What place though? You like Domino's? You like Round Table? You like Papa John's?
I
you
do
like some of the smaller places?
I like if you can get. I do like more like the New York style. Pizza's a big topic. If people are really into pizza, I was listening to a podcast the other day about a guy that opened has done a movie on pizzas and pizza choice, and why actually there is difference between like Chicago, New York, and certain places that there's just that people grew up with that style of pizza and they're like, this is the only way to eat pizza. So it's a huge topic. I'm not that into it. But I do like more the New York style, the kind of, I guess, the fattier one, the thicker crusts.
Yeah.
I will eat the fancier restaurant type pizza, but I'm not as into that. Danny likes that style.
Yeah.
But I think it's for her it's from a less fat point of view.
Artesian pizza?
Yeah, that's not for me.
Yeah,
I like big fat. If I'm going to eat pizza, I want to eat big fat proper pizza.
Yeah. Have you ever had Chicago pizza? Like proper?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, those and by the slice. I always feel that for some reason, I know they make it like a normal pizza and it's round to start with, and then they slice it up.
Then it's like lasagna.
For some reason, buying it by the slice seems to feel or taste better than the whole pizza. It's weird. I don't know.
It's because they make it. I think they have.
And then they slice it up.
They slice it up and then they bake that piece for you. So you probably get more of like the. Yeah.
There's something to pizza by the slice. I don't know.
Yeah.
What it is, but I can Yeah, I mean, we create these. I'm terrible for creating habits that I have no justification or massive reason behind some of them. But once they become a habit, they become a bit of a thing in my life. I almost have to do it. And the drink thing, like you said, like I don't really drink anymore, like to go and party and get smashed. I mean, I can, and if in the right circumstance, especially if a few of me and my old friends kind of will get together. If I go planning a trip to the UK, I'll probably have at least a night out.
We had some fun.
Absolutely. Exactly. The circumstances are always those things. Like my business partner, when we get together again, we will probably go out and get hammered and have a full on night, and just it's kind of just letting off some steam. But it's not a consistent thing anymore. I can go without it. I've gone without. Like I think the SBG trip was probably the first time in the last 2 years that I've had that amount to drink, due to COVID and not going out and over what I would normally do, which is sit at home and maybe just have a couple of ciders, watch the sport.
I don't know how you even consumed that much liquid.
Oh, the other weekend?
Yeah, where do you put it? You didn't even use the restroom like at all.
No, I'm a bit weird when it comes to drinking. Like I can drink and just keep going.
Like copious amounts.
Yeah, And I'm quick. I'm the same with my food. Like once I start, I'm like a couple of out, and my drink's gone. I'm like, I need another one.
Yeah.
And I was no different when I was younger with drinking. I'd go out on a night out, and I'd be the first one with the group of us around. I'd be the first one to finish every time. To the point where I'd always end up buying more rounds because I was impatient for everyone else to finish.
Yeah.
And
That's
I just go
also
to the bar
thing.
and get another round.
That's also a thing in Europe. Because when we went out to drink in London, everybody was buying rounds.
Yeah.
And
Do you guys not do that?
I mean, because of that, I started buying rounds for my friends. But it's usually just Dutch when you go out. It's like a nightclub or something.
Yeah.
You just pay for you or maybe your significant other or maybe a friend here.
No.
But everybody, because you don't want to impose or anything.
Yeah.
But out there, it was like another round, and then everybody get around, and then you get the bill, and you're like,
oh fuck.
whoa, like wait a minute, yeah.
No, it's just a given in the pub environment. So way we would start a night out, you would usually drift off to on your own. By the time you got to nightclubs and stuff, there might only be, let's say you start out with like 10 people the next round, and then as you move through the bars, it whittles down, and then groups, even if you're still with the big groups splinter off into 2 or 3 of you, and you staying around, and they staying around.
And you take turns buying rounds. That's what I noticed. Yeah.
And then usually by sort of towards the end of the night, there might be 1 or 2 of you left still in a round, just kind of, but the rest of kind of doing their own thing. So it drops off as the night goes on, depending on where you end up. But
I think they only let me buy 1 round the entire time I was in the UK.
They must like you then.
Yeah, they just like nobody would let me pay for a round.
Yeah.
They were just like, you were next round's on us, and my uncle was like, yeah, it's my turn to buy a round, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's part of the culture, I think, in different places. But no, rounds was always a thing. But yeah, I don't now. I can very quickly flick my mindset to the going out and kind of partying type drinking. Yeah. Once I've had 2 or 3, I'm off.
Yeah.
I have to almost be drawn in. Like, the thing that stopped us in Reno was kind of, first of all, the bar shut at 2. That was a good thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they kept going.
And then we also had to train the next morning.
Yeah, and then there was the kind of, we were starting to look at each other a little bit of like, we need to get up, and we've got like 7 hours of jiu-jitsu tomorrow, so we should really probably go and get some sleep, right? Yeah. If I hadn't had that,
it kept going.
It probably kept going, and the Sunday would have probably been like Beto's Sunday, which was
it didn't even show up.
No, but I didn't want to, like, it was one of them. I kind of, for the sake of a few more drinks or staying out, I didn't want to ruin the whole of the next day. So as long as I've got a purpose, I can stop.
Yeah.
And but generally, if there's no purpose, I won't stop. We'll just keep going, and then I've gone through the argument in my head of like, well, what about tomorrow? That went hours ago.
Yeah.
At that point, I don't care.
Once you're having a good time too, it's like,
it's hard to stop.
Yeah.
And I think even more so when you don't do it as often anymore. Mm-hmm. Being in that environment, like we've been, thanks to the whole COVID scenario in the last sort of 18 months or so, people haven't been gathering as much, and it's not kind of because you can't. It's just haven't been.
We all got used to being at home.
Yeah, so the social side, that was probably the first big social thing in the last 18 months that we've done with like 100 people, and so it's kind of just cool to be in that environment again with different people and getting into different kind of drunk conversations. God knows what I was talking about. Could have been anything. But now I'm quite happy with a few, like a few ciders, and I have my 2 days a week if I'm going to drink. It'll be like a Thursday night, and the Thursday night habit came about through in Hong Kong. My Thursday night is Hong Kong's Friday morning, so I always have a manager's call with the guys running Hong Kong, and it's my Thursday night. And when that's done, that's Hong Kong's week kind of done. They've updated what's going on, planning for the next week, and I can kind of switch off from Hong Kong for a couple of days. So I feel like that was kind of became the end of my week a little. Yeah. Even though, and then now I'm getting more and more clients on a Friday, so I'm gonna have to curb the Thursday night thing.
Yeah, man.
A little bit. I don't have a lot, but even me, it doesn't take me many to not function correctly the next morning. So now I've got like I usually coach boxing class on a Friday morning. I've now got I think 2 jiu-jitsu clients on a Friday.
Yeah.
And maybe 1 other boxing client. So that's 4 kind of sessions to navigate where I've got to think. So I'll probably need to slow that down a bit. Not that I have a lot. And then the other one is always a Saturday. So I'll come roll here on a Saturday.
You go ahead with a couple drinks.
UFC. So as soon as UFC starts, like I'm lost. If the UFC's not on a Saturday and it's not off, then I'm like, what the fuck? What am I going to do? Like the only time me and Danny go out for a meal now is when UFC's not on if it's a Saturday. Because she likes watching it as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's just me being selfish. I want to watch UFC, but from about 4 o'clock onwards on a Saturday, I might bang UFC for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
And then it was on early last week, so I watched all the UFC till about 7. Then Bellator came on. She's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "It's Bellator. I'm watching Bellator now." Still 10 o'clock.
What's
like
this?
fucking hell. I was like about 8 hours of fights. Luckily, she's into it. She likes watching it, so it's not. You know, it doesn't cause us a headache. But yeah, literally, there's that moment of UFC's not on today. What are we gonna do with our life?
Yeah.
And Danny's like, "Well, we could go out for some food." I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Do you remember
Social life
back in the
could
day
do that.
when UFC was like once a month?
Exactly, yeah. Like now it's just like, it's almost a given that it's on. Like I don't even check the schedule. I don't check which is the next one, whether it's a fight night or a pay-per-view, whatever. I just assume it's on.
Yeah.
Until I sometimes go to put it on and I'm like, why is it not on? And then I've got to check and they're like, oh, there isn't one this week. That's unusual. So yeah. So that's
do you want to take a nap, Butch? Like
I know. I'm like, what am I going to do? That's my life over. And then Sunday's now NFL, so I've got I'm terrible with the sport. But that's my two little habits when it comes to having a few drinks to kind of unwind, chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't. Whereas you do the whiskey thing most nights, right?
No, actually, I don't. So
thought you used to.
I have a really nice whiskey collection that I've been assembling. It's like the Avengers of whiskey. I've been assembling since just before we got married, so just around 2014 I got really into whiskey, and I've traveled to London and to Scotland and bought bottles there. But I have a really nice Japanese whiskey collection, and you would think I would have like a really serious like alcohol problem, but I think what it was is that some of these bottles I've actually invested in, and I've searched for, and my wife doesn't touch any of it. She'll smell it, and she likes to smell what the character is and try to find what I'm talking about. But she very rarely will taste a whiskey. It's kind of cool. She'll hunt whiskey with me.
Yeah.
But some of it's quite expensive, so I don't want to just like hammer that down in like a weekend. And I'm not one of those guys that just hoards it either.
Yeah.
But I like to share it. So I've shared a couple bottles with Julianne, and I brought a Lagavulin to the Reno trip that that you didn't have any of. And
no.
Do you like whiskey?
Not a massive fan of like, I guess, spirits in general. For some reason, I think I'm a little bit allergic to spirits. Like, every time I overdrink spirits, the punch bag at the back of your throat,
it swells up.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm
allergic
and
to.
it's always been that. It's always been when I've overdrank spirits.
Yeah.
So I don't like the next few days of like feeling like I've got
like
phlegm in the back of my throat when I haven't, and I can't get rid of it. So it drives me nuts. So I tend to stay away from it. But I'm not. I guess I'm not. I've never really appreciated really expensive alcohol.
Yeah.
I've never really, like, people have given
have
it me.
sip.
Like, I like wine, and people, you go somewhere expensive, and like, when I say expensive, like when I go a little bit beyond my normal, Ralph's bottle of wine. But they taste it. I'm like, just don't. It semi-tastes the same to me. Red wine's red wine.
Yeah.
I can taste bad wine. Don't get me wrong. I can spot it when it's really cheap.
Yeah.
Because like vinegar. But yeah, I don't have, I guess, that palette of like this is and appreciation of something that's like hundreds of dollars. I'm kind of like, well, the way I drink it wouldn't do it any justice.
Okay. Well, we should film a tasting, either wine or a couple of like little.
Do you have to spit it out?
No, you can drink it.
Good. Because again, I don't see the point in that.
No, I don't. I would.
This
I
whole
would
wine
not want
tasting
you.
and spitting it out makes zero
I
sense.
would not
to
want
me.
you to spit out like a $30 pour of whiskey.
Exactly. I mean, it's a good way of drinking and not getting drunk, but it seems very pointless to me.
Yeah.
I'm into wine a lot, and I used to go to a lot of tastings, and sometimes I'd have to go to work after, so I would spit it out.
Yeah.
I just wanted the information of all the wines. Though.
Yeah.
Just like,
But it hits you different when you actually like swallow
because
well, I mean,
yeah.
But I mean like the exhale of it, the aftertaste. I think is way different.
It's a way getting used to it. Like you can still figure it out, but
No, but it's amazing like how detailed literally anything can be if you're that into it.
Yeah.
Like to a non-connoisseur like me, I'm just like, I don't get it. Like I don't, and even like, how do you choose? So here's a really like, I guess, poor example of like choosing. You've got these really expensive bottles. How do you choose what is the right occasion to do? Because they're so expensive. Like I'll give you an example, and this is how cheap I am, but also how my mindset works. I've got, I think, 2 maybe 3 bottles of champagne in the fridge, and they've been there for about. Well, they built up. I got one given to me when we opened the gym in Hong Kong, which is about 3 years ago. And then I think I bought one for New Year, and I never drank it. And I got given another one for some reason, and I can't remember where it was, for what reason. And my mindset was, okay, at first I was like, throughout all the hassle of COVID and getting the gym open, I was like, when we get the gym open, I'm going to drink this and celebrate. And then we finally got the gym open, and I was like, there's nothing to celebrate yet. We just opened.
Yeah.
So then I was like, maybe if we hit target for our first 2 months, 1 month, 2 months, then I'll drink it. There's something to celebrate. And then we hit target. I'm like, I still don't feel that I should celebrate yet. Now my brain's going, I'm not going to celebrate until we start making some money. Yeah. And I keep putting off the celebration because I don't feel we deserve it yet.
I think the problem here is that you don't like champagne.
And that it's not. Yeah, sometimes I'm kind of like, it's not my overly favorite drink, but I've attached celebration
to champagne,
and I've attached the celebration of the business, and I'm like, we're not. There's nothing to celebrate yet. Yeah, and I should, we should celebrate the little things. It should be a bit more like, you know what, we worked our fucking arses off during COVID to get this gym open, and yes, a load of stuff went wrong, but we got it done. Yeah, we've started with absolutely nothing in a terrible scenario in downtown. Starting from nothing, barely anybody. People still working from home, and yet we're doing okay. But I just can't bring myself to celebrate. Yeah. So I don't know when these bottles are ever going to get drunk, and I don't know what level I'm going to have to hit to be like, right, now I deserve it. And I'm talking about like $50 bottles of champagne. I'm not talking about.
Is that expensive?
No.
Champagne.
It's not as cheap, right? I mean, it's not as cheap as a $25 bottle, but 50 is nothing.
It'll be a nice champagne, but
it's
champagne
not.
Can go.
Yeah, we're not talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars that you would think would make me go. So it's the attachment that I've put to these bottles that's making me not drink them, because I'm like, we're not. There's nothing to celebrate yet.
Yeah, I have a couple of bottles that are like that I haven't opened. So. I have a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue Ghost and Rare. It's like $500-600. I'm saving that bottle for when we have our first kid.
Right. Okay.
So, but that's a special bottle, right? And the reason why it's so special is it has whiskeys blended into it. That it's called Ghost and Rare because a lot of the distilleries are dead distilleries. So they had casks of whiskey that you're not going to get anymore blended in, right. and it's like 40-year-old whiskeys, 50-year-old whiskeys that are blended into this whiskey. So it's really special, and I was able to find it. I think I have the Port Ellen. I don't have the Brora version. These are different distilleries. And then I have a bottle of Dewar's 27. I used to talk so much shit about Dewar's because it's a big company and you see it everywhere and it's really metalled. But Dewar's 12 is like one of my favorite whiskeys now. Right. But it's like dime a dozen whiskey, but it's really tasty, and I think it's really good to get people who aren't into whiskey. Right. But I have a bottle of the 27-year-old that I got for my 27th birthday that I ended up drinking another nice bottle that I never opened up the 27. Right. And then I have bottles of Japanese whiskey that you can't get anymore that aren't open, that I'm waiting for like somebody who can appreciate it and taste it. Linda, who I do Speakeasy Jiu-Jitsu with, our other YouTube channel, we actually share. It's like a leaf blower going on in the background. Sorry, guys, you're gonna have to deal with that. But I share a lot of nice whiskeys with her, right? And she's always just like, "Wah," but I like sharing whiskeys with people, so I don't ever really like hold on to anything too crazy. I don't see the point in holding on to it, because if I hold on to a really nice whiskey and I get into a car accident tomorrow, and God forbid, but I think that these things are meant to be enjoyed, and I want to share them with people, and it's just as much like I would with jiu-jitsu, right? Like I don't hold any techniques from anybody, because I want you to be able to experience them and learn and enjoy them. I think that's also why I like whiskey so much, is because I like things with long processes and things that take a long time and a lot of love and care, and so I gravitated towards whiskey. Now, to go back to, do I drink every night? No, I don't. But during COVID, when I was filming in here every day, I would go home and edit, and I was having
that's right.
and I was
I remember you
having
telling me
whiskey,
that you did.
like
And I was
all
like,
the
how
time.
the fuck does he function? Because he comes in the next day, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
couldn't teach anything.
And it was like at a constant like low buzz like for weeks, and then finally I got to the point where I was like, my whiskey's disappearing. And then I don't want it to grow into a bigger monster of a problem. So it was at a point where I was enjoying it every night. So I was like, okay, only on weekends. And now it's only every once in a while.
Yeah.
So
That's so interesting. It's so interesting how we become attached to, I guess, to certain things like that.
Yeah.
That become a bit of a collection. I mean, I just wonder where it started, because some people collect the most obscure things, and they're worth a lot of money. I've never been a collector, really, of anything. I don't think. I'm trying to think. I mean, boxing gloves. I've got so many pairs of boxing gloves. It's ridiculous. But that's more of a like, you know, I try and make it match shit, and I can't. You know, I want it to look cool while I'm getting punched in the face. Like you collect geese.
I don't collect them.
No, you just end up having a load, right?
And it's become kind of a collection.
That's what I mean. The boxing glove thing is not a collection. It's such I just keep buying more and more pairs, and now it looks like a collection.
You collect boxing or like athletic shorts?
Yeah, I mean, I've got. Well, I buy a load of athletic gear and then never wear it because I like training in old stuff, because I always train.
Yeah.
So I have a ton of old stuff with sleeves cut off, and you know, it's just old, and that's more comfy for me to train. I go and buy really new stuff that looks cool, and then I won't train in it because I feel like that's like my going out clothes. I very rarely get overly dressed up.
When I get dressed up to go on dates, Krisha's like, another jiu-jitsu shirt?
What? Yeah.
Another jiu-jitsu hat?
Yeah.
She's like, I haven't seen your hair in forever.
Yeah. No, bad. Like I'm all about comfort. So yeah, just to put a pair of jeans and something that's not a t-shirt on is.
Danny posted a photo of you. I think you guys were at UFC or something, and you were in a button-up.
Yes.
And Krisha texted me, and she was like, "It's so strange to see Jon in a button-up." And I was like, "What? Where? Did he post a video?" She's like, "No, Danny's Instagram." So I went on her Instagram, and I saw the photo, and I was like, "That's a dapper chap."
No, we had that was I was trying to make an effort because we got cage side, so we were literally cage side.
You look good,
that
man.
UFC, and I was like, you go cage side, people get dressed up because you sat around, you know, all the fighters. You also sat around, you know, the stars and whatnot have gone. So I was like, fuck, I'm gonna make an effort, but I was uncomfortable to fuck.
You look good.
It's the only time I've done it. Like, and I've had cage side a few times, and every other time's been like, you know what, fuck it.
You look like one of the fighters.
Yeah, I'm like, because you sat there for a long time, and it's like, you know, I think I was there in shirt and jeans, and I was just like. Yeah, after about an hour or so, I'm just uncomfortable. It's just
so you ripped off your...
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, like the Hulk.
I would have done if I could. But no, I mean, look, it's nice to get dressed up, and I think we did something afterwards. I can't remember, but yeah, I've done it, you know, once or twice. But I'm not good at getting dressed up.
Yeah,
it's not my. I need to be comfortable.
Yeah, when you hit a certain point in like your life, I've kind of hit that point too, where like I always want to be kind of comfortable and.
Oh no, I don't go to that many dressy places either. Like we don't go to restaurants and whatnot whereby it's kind of almost the code, you know, and everyone in there is super dressed up.
When we went to that restaurant in Reno,
well, yeah,
and everybody was like dressed really nice because it was a nice restaurant, and I guess it was like a date spot.
Yeah.
And we show up, there's like 6 of us, and we all just got done with the camp, and we all look like just like athletes, and we show up, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, is there a dress code? And they're like, no. And they sat us right at the front. We were the loudest table. Everybody was looking at us.
No, I literally just walked in, got a shower, and changed my shorts and t-shirts into a different pair of shorts and t-shirt, and then we went back out again. But you know, again, it's kind of like, you know, I get dress codes and all these sort of things, but I think we sometimes make a bit too much. It's nice to get dressed up, don't get me wrong. Yeah, and go to these kind of environments, but you know, I'm always much more relaxed in a more comfortable environment where people don't give a shit.
Yeah, like your own home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, no need to be social. Like I can do what I want. I mean, I have to put pants on if I invite people round. Danny's told me.
Really?
I'm not allowed to sit in my boxers anymore.
I don't know why I wouldn't care.
You know.
I think it's because we hang out in like spats and shorts all the time.
Boxers as in this or like?
No, as in just but underwear, and t-shirt.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's not. You know, it's not the done thing if you have visitors. But you know, I'm like, it's my home. I can sit around how I want. But you know, I make an effort. I put a pair of shorts.
You don't do that?
Wear my underwear when I have people over?
No, I mean just.
No,
like
I mean when you're on your own, chilling. Like,
no, of course. I think everybody, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point.
It's about getting as comfy as possible.
Yeah.
And the fact that I live in shorts means the next level of comfort has to be your underwear.
Less than,
it's that or naked, and naked's not comfortable even in your own home. I'm not sure I could go to that level. It's not. It's
because
weird.
you're the one who has to clean the place.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, there is that. Although the dog sits around naked all day, so I mean, I don't know why he makes a big enough mess. But anyway, so interesting.
Now Okay.
Do we have a serious question? Any serious questions before we wrap this up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I wanted to talk about, because it's October, I wanted to talk about scary movies.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And I wanted to talk about the fighting aspect in a scary movie. So, first off, let's pick a movie. Halloween. What is it? Freddy Krueger. What is that? Nightmare on Elm Street. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Who would you pick, first of all? For us to go over.
Well, let's do the most recent Halloween movie. So let's go Mike Myers.
Okay. Do you think he's a worthy opponent?
Well, he's not being killed in how many movies?
I don't know how many.
He's been burnt to death. He's been stabbed. He's been shot 1,000,000 times, right? And he's still alive. I'm not taking that guy on.
And he walks.
And he just walks. Yeah.
He can't be bothered to run.
People run away and he catches them walking. I mean, that's fucking impressive.
He must have the best GPS.
Yeah.
Because he must have all the best shortcuts. Because he doesn't have any supernatural abilities, right? He's just
you just can't kill him.
It's kind of like you when we're rolling.
Yeah, I might not always win, but I'm not dead.
Yeah.
Which I see as a win at my age. I think it's a good thing.
So, if you can't kill him, do you do like that age-old cage him, put him at the bottom of the ocean?
You could, right? And lots of movies do this, but a lot happens between, that movie and the sequel. I don't know who writes this stuff. They're fucking genius.
How he gets
out. They completely leave it with the guy, whoever it is, completely fucking dead. And somehow when the writers get back together, they sit there and go, how are we going to bring him back?
He's back.
How did they not really die?
They're like, we don't have to explain it. Yeah. He's just back.
So, I think trying to work out how you're going to fight someone that can't be killed is...
His main goal is to kill Jamie Lee Curtis, right? Like, that's his, main goal?
I mean, it appears to be.
Yeah, because
he just kills everyone but that person.
So if he does inevitably murder her, or if, for whatever reason,
he never will, otherwise we can't have 50 sequels.
Yeah, how is this going to end?
Jamie Lee Curtis will unfortunately probably, pass on.
That means the series is over.
Well, I don't know nowadays. I mean, what is it called? Is it CGI? You can bring people back, right? I mean,
they did it with Princess Leia.
Star Wars, right? Yeah. Princess Leia was still in Star Wars.
They made Luke look younger.
Yeah, so I mean, who knows how long Halloween can go on for? Probably well beyond my lifetime.
Think so?
I hope so.
I'd
like to think people get as much enjoyment out of these movies as I do.
Yeah. So from a tactical standpoint, if let's say is it Mike Myers? That's Shrek, right? It's Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
Okay, Michael Myers, so Mr. Myers. If he was standing in front of you, what is your tactical approach to defeating him? He has the kitchen knife.
Well, I don't think your standard knife defense is going to work.
Yeah.
Because he's been stabbed in the face and he continues to stab you back.
I didn't know that.
Kind of I don't think there's many options. There's not many times in my life I don't have a theory, except for against these kind of people. I think you may as well just be like, stab me.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be over at some point. This is how these movies work, right? Yeah. You're not going to survive unless you're Jamie Lee Curtis or whoever the main person is. They survive.
Yeah, but even then, sometimes the bad guy is the main character, and they just in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, doesn't he just kill everybody?
Yeah, he's got a chainsaw. How are you going to fight a chainsaw?
You hope he runs out of gas.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm all for frame, 2-on-1, but against a chainsaw. Those things are fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I don't think your standard self-defense protocols are going to really work.
I feel like
and this chainsaw works forever as well. Like, I've never seen him charge or plug it in.
I have seen him struggle to start it.
Yeah, he's had its odd moments, but it's an old chainsaw.
To run away.
It's an old he's had that chainsaw since what? When did Texas Chainsaw Massacre come out? 70s?
70s, yeah.
You know, it's a 50-year-old chainsaw now, so it's going to struggle, but it always works.
It always works. And it doesn't have like the standard like 16-inch 24 blade. It's like the 4-foot blade. And it cuts through steel.
Yeah, cuts through anything.
It cuts through anything. It's like a goddamn lightsaber.
Exactly. And then you've got like Freddy Krueger fucking does you in your dreams.
In your dreams.
You're not even awake.
Yeah.
So how do you fight that? You know, apart from, I can't remember the girl's name. What's the girl's name that's in it, like the heroine or whatever. Like, she obviously somehow always wakes up just in time and does something to get away with it. But everyone else dies. So I think the only way you combat these people is to become their nemesis.
The main character.
If you're not the main character or the main nemesis,
narrative.
you're dead. And I think you may as well just accept that.
Yeah.
You know, you're an extra. You're basically an extra in those movies.
When in life do you realize you're the extra?
In these deep. Movies? Or in life in general?
We're getting deep now. I think at weddings, you realize like, oh yeah, I'm just an extra here.
Yeah.
Did it stop?
No, it's about to.
Okay.
What was the question?
So when in life do you realize you're not the main character, you're the side character? And you're going to inevitably
fucking hell. I mean, that's a big
be
question,
murdered
right?
with the chainsaw. But in life, I guess it would be
in life, I think I guess as soon as you get a partner, you realise you're not the main character anymore, right? I mean, that's that's one thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think in your own world, you're always the main character.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always the main character of what I'm trying to achieve. But in the big picture, you need a ton of people around you, and by that, I guess, scale, you're always an extra in somebody else's story. You know, I don't want to be an extra in my own story, because that otherwise, what am I trying to achieve? But understanding that you're the main character in your own story, but you need people in your life. You need people to support. You know, people to help, people to guide you, show you the way, whatever it is you're trying to achieve. No one ever gets anywhere, I don't believe, on their own. You know, this whole self-made stuff and all this kind of thing. It's kind of like, but you must have learned stuff from somewhere. You weren't just born with all these skills that get you to where you want to be. Some people are a bit more self-made than others, whether it's from a financial point of view, careers point of view. You know, did you see the Snoop Dogg acceptance thing that he did on social media the other day? So Snoop Dogg I don't know what he's just turned 50, right? So he does this kind of acceptance, and he basically, you have to watch it, we probably need to put it into the clip somewhere, and he literally thanks himself for everything in a kind of a thing, but he's like, I want to thank me for doing all the hard work, I want to thank me for putting all the hours in, I want to thank me for doing all this stuff. And you're like, that's so fucking cool. Because, yes, he's had an awful lot of help along the way, but the guy's 50 years old, legend, done so many things in his career. You don't get to that age without having put a ton of the hard work in yourself. So whilst we've been guided, whilst we've been helped, whilst we've had, mentors, coaches, all these people that has helped us along the way, we've gone down this route of, having to give off so much gratitude to everybody that's got us there. And don't forget the people that have helped you along the way and all this sort of stuff. And I do agree and believe in that. But the bottom line is, I was the one that still chose to do all the work. I chose to listen. I chose to try and take the lessons. I chose to try and get better. I turned up to class, or I turned up to work every day. I should take a little bit of that for myself, right? So that's on me. That's me being the hero of my own story. I've got choices, but luckily I had people around me. And in someone else's story, I'm the extra. I'm the one that's maybe in the background, giving off advice, whether it's good or not, helping, being the support person. Being whatever that person or that group or whoever it is needs, right? Whilst you're the head coach of an owner of SBG SoCal, are you, you're probably in some ways the extra
Oh yeah,
to everyone that's on the mat. It's the opposite way round. You know, although by default you're the owner of everything. It's all you. SBG SoCal's all you. But everyone that comes in here sees you as this sounds awful, but you're the vehicle to help everybody else improve, right? Yeah. So in that way, you're the extra.
I feel.
But in your world, you're the lead character because you have to be.
Yeah, I feel like when it came to being like the lead character and really focusing on myself was all the way up until the point I got my black belt. At least when it comes to training.
Yeah.
And then once I got my black belt, I was like, okay, let's focus on everyone else as much as I can. Where before I was focusing on everybody else, but a lot of times I'm like, okay, how can I do this better? And I'm now the weight or the level of intensity for either way has shifted. So now it's more about you guys, right? Like the students here. I think a good example of when you realize you're the side character or the not the main character is when you're lined up for stripes and your coach gives this guy a stripe that lady a stripe and just kind of keeps going and you're like,
what about me? Did I do something wrong? Like, I've been training, right? What have I missed?
And then coach says, remember guys, when it's not our time to get a stripe, don't be upset because when our partners get better, we get better. And then you're like, you motherfucker.
I think we're all like, I guess without getting too deep, it's a good analogy actually using the movie, lead character stroke. Extras maybe not the right word, it's more the supporting cast.
Yeah. Either you're Frodo or Samwise Gamgee.
You're either you got, I mean,
Han Solo or
I mean,
Luke
even
Skywalker.
the enemy, right? I mean, we have ish, I like to think I've not got any enemies nowadays, but there are things throughout time where, like you say, you've got the supporting cast, you're the lead character of your life, but you've also got enemies, and enemies might not be an individual person, they're just roadblocks, they're things that are getting in your way. These are the things that I've got to get through or beyond
COVID.
So the analogy is actually a good one. You lost me for a few seconds. I was a bit like, fucking movies, and
I don't get deep,
but I do love movies, and when you started when you got me thinking on it, I'm like, okay, yeah, actually, there's a ton of analogies there, and at any given time, you can be any one of those characters. So I'm sure I've been the enemy at some point to somebody.
Yeah.
In somebody's story, I've been the enemy. In someone else's story, I'm the hero. In someone else's story, I'm an extra, or maybe not even in the movie. Maybe I didn't even get the part. So it's interesting. But I think the most important part as an individual for me is that I'm always. Hero's a strong word, but I'm trying to play the hero because the people around me need me to be that. If I'm not that, who is?
Yep.
Right. And then who's my hero? Who am I? Who do I look up to? Who do I see as that guiding, I guess, kind of light? And now I'm a little bit older. I definitely don't have as many of those. I have people that I look to definitely for advice.
Yeah.
But the hero thing, I think that pinnacle person that you massively look up to, kind of that drops off a little bit as you age because you become the age of those people you used to look up to.
Yeah. Also, I think there's once you reach a level of success, you stop looking so much as people like putting them on a pedestal, and you start looking at them as like, oh, hey, I've kind of been there, or maybe they're just a little bit ahead of me in some points, or you start looking for advice rather than like idolizing people.
Exactly. Yeah. Idolizing. That's the perfect word. You idolize people when you're younger, because the gap between you and what they're doing seems so big, and it's also you're still trying to find your own path, right? You're still trying to find what you want to be, and you're looking at people and how they do things to go, I want to be like that, or I want to be like that. Now I look at people that are way more successful than me, but I don't look at them with any kind of, I guess, envy or idolization of these people. Maybe a few athletes. I still, I'm like, wow, that's such and such. Obviously it's nice to get that still. You know? But by and large, I look at peers within my industry and things like that are way more successful than me, but they're also just a human being doing their thing. And as much as I might appreciate what they do and as good as they are, I don't idolize them. I don't want to be them.
More admiration.
I don't want to be the same as them anymore. I've done my in your youth and your early days. You tend to while you're trying to make it, you tend to mimic a little bit, copy, try and you're finding your path. I'm 47 years old. I'm not trying to copy anyone anymore. I don't really give a fuck. To kind of try and emulate somebody else. I'm me. I've got my own story.
I'm not 47, but I'm kind of at that point where like I just don't.
No, I maybe got to that point sooner than this, but definitely now. What people I talk to, most people that are super successful in my industry are all younger than me anyway. They did things their path was different to me. There's ways in which you can get very successful, and then maybe 30 odd years old. But again, I listen to a lot of stuff that goes on, and I'm kind of like, okay, you're doing really, really well right now, and you're where you are. Things will be different again in 10 more years. And whether you'll still be where you are now, or you'll transcend, you'll go even further, or no one will be talking about you, who knows?
Yeah.
But focus on where you are right now, and what you're doing right now. Over, again, continuing to to emulate other people and go, I want to be like that, I want to be known for this, I want to be this. It's like, just once you've got a semi-decent level of ownership of yourself, just keep running with that at that point.
Yeah.
Be
a good hero of your own story. We got real deep at the end there. We started with pizza and Taco Bell.
But I've got no problem being the sidekick as well in things, It's like, there's times with certain people where you make a better sidekick than you make hero. It just depends on the circumstances. There's some people I bounce with where I'm like, you know what, I'm happy for you to lead. Because I know where my value comes in, you lead. If there's other scenarios where I'm like, look, I'll lead, you support. Yeah. It's what it is. I think, relationships are all about a little bit of give and take. But we did get fucking deep. I don't know how that went from like fighting Michael Myers and what would I do to life analogy. But here we are. That's what we do.
Yeah. Welcome to the Iron Grips podcast. We'll leave it there then. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked what you saw and you like to talk about scary movies and pizza and just us kind of shooting the shit and getting to know us a little bit better, please leave a comment down below. Like the video. Also, if there's anything that you would like us to cover in future videos, say that as well in your comment. Leave us a thumb up and don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram. We also have Facebooks as well and other YouTube pages and things like that. Thank you guys. Hope you have a good one.
Hear that music?